Good morning, students. Today we will discuss the 10th chapter of 8th class CBSE book, that is the changing world of visual arts. In our previous video, we have discussed about new forms of imperial part and looking for the pictures cue. Today we will discuss the another tradition of art that became immensely popular in colonial India, that is portrait painting, and after it we will discuss about painting history. Basically, the portraits of authority or portrait painting and painting history will be discussed under some subtopics, like the first is portraits of authority, and the second one is painting history. Portraits of authority will be discussed under some subtopics, like the first is differences between Indian portraits and European portraits. Indian and European portraits. Visiting of European painters. And the third one is portraits of Indian Nawabs. Portraits of Indian Nawabs. In painting history, we will see the definition of painting history. After it, we will see why it was adopted. Why was it adopted by European artists? And later on, we will discuss the case study of some paintings. At first, we will discuss the portraits painting. At that time, everyone, rich and the powerful, both British and Indians, wanted to see themselves on canvas. This portrait painting was different from Indian portraits. How? How was it different from Indian portrait paintings? The existing Indian tradition of painting portraits were in miniature form, whereas colonial portraits were life-size images. Why they adopted the concept of life-size images? They adopted this style so that portraits could be looked like lifelike and real. This new style also served as an ideal meaning of displaying lavish lifestyle, wealth and status that the empire generated. Visiting of European painters. As portrait painting became popular, many European portrait painters came to India in search of profitable commissions. One of the most famous of the visiting European painter was Johann Joffny. Johann Joffny was born in Germany, migrated to England and came to India in the mid 1780s for 5 years. One of the famous painters of portrait painting was Johann Joffny. Both paintings, this and this, both were made by Johann Joffny, and this painting was made in 1784 and this painting was also made in 1784. Made by Joffny. in 1784. Actually, in this painting, Governor General Hastings with his wife is painted. Portrait of Governor General Hastings. And this painting was also made by Johann Jopni, and in this painting, the Oriel and Dashwood families of Calcutta were painted by Johann Jopni, and this was also made in 1784. Both these paintings are the example of oil painting, which has been discussed in our previous video. Look, these two pictures, these are two examples of the portraits that Jopni painted. In these pictures, we can see the Indians are shown as submissive, as inferior, and as serving their white masters, while the British are shown as superior and imperious. They flaunt their clothes, stand regally, or sit arrogantly, like they are sitting arrogantly, and General Hastings with his wife was standing arrogantly, and they are painted to live a life of luxury. Indians are never at the center of such paintings. They usually occupy a shadowy background. Many of the Indian Nawabs too began commissioning imposing oil portraits by European painters. Basically, we can say at that time, European painters wanted to show the supremacy of British culture, British ideology, and British power. That's why they took the British officials as the center of their paintings, not Indian people. Now we will discuss the other subpoint, that is portraits of Indian Nawabs. As I have told you earlier, like at that time, Indian Nawabs were also willing to show themselves on canvas. When British posted residents in Indian courts and began controlling the state, undermining the power of the king, some of these Nawab reacted against these interference. Others accepted the political and cultural superiority of the British. They adopted British style and taste. Muhammad Ali Khan of Arcot was one such Nawab. After a war with the British in 1770s, he became a dependent pensioner of the East India Company. He asked Tilly Kettle and George Wilson, European artists, to paint his portraits, and he gifted these paintings to the King of England and the directors of the East India Company. Like this is the portrait of Nawab Muhammad Ali Khan of Arcot. This painting was made by George Wilson. Painted by George Wilson in 1775. Look, this painting of Muhammad Ali Khan of Arcot, painted by George Wilson. Look the way the Nawab poses and how he asserts his majesty and superiority. Now the question arises, why these kind of Nawabs who accepted British superiority were willing to make their portraits. Actually, in reality they had lost political power, but the portraits allowed them to look at themselves as a royal figure. Somewhere we can say they were getting satisfaction by presenting themselves as a royal figure in these kind of portraits. That's why they wanted to show themselves on canvas. Now we will discuss the other topic, that is painting history. Painting history. We have discussed about two categories of visual art. The first is picturesque landscape. The second is portrait. Now we will discuss the third figure, or we can say third category, that is portrait painting. Sorry, that is painting history. At first we will define painting history. Which kind of paintings can be termed as painting history? We can say a painting technique which recreated any historical part through pictures that looked real. So we can say technique which recreated any historical part through pictures that looked real. Why this kind of tradition was adopted by European artists? When we discuss this topic, this question comes in our mind कि why they adopted this style. Actually, by adopting this style, they could also show the superiority of British. Like, this tradition sought to dramatize and recreate various episodes of British imperial history and enjoyed great prestige and popularity during the late 18th and early 19th century. British victories in India served as rich material for history paintings in Britain, and these paintings once again celebrated the British power, their victories, and their supremacy. Now we will discuss the study of some paintings. Like, one of the first of these history paintings was produced by Francis Hayman. This painting was produced by Francis Hayman in 1762, and it was placed on public display in the Vauxhall Gardens in London. This painting shows the meeting of Mir Jafar, Nawab of Murshidabad, after the Battle of Plassey. This painting was made by Francis Hayman after the Battle of Plassey, and look this painting. The British has just defeated Sirajuddaula in the famous Battle of Plassey and installed Mir Jafar as the Nawab of Bengal. It was a victory won through conspiracy, and that later Mir Jafar was awarded as the title of Nawab. This is Mir Jafar. In this painting, Lord Clive being welcomed by Mir Jafar and his troops after the Battle of Plassey. Like, Mir Jafar was painted as welcoming the General Lord Clive and his troops, and Union Jack was also unfurled in this painting. Now look this second painting. This second painting showed the storming of Seringapatam, and this was painted by Robert K. Porter. Storming of Seringapatam. Now it is known as Srirangapatnam, and this was also an example of oil painting and made by Robert K. Porter. This painting was made in 1800, and this is also an example of oil painting. The celebration of British military triumph can be seen in this painting. Tipu Sultan of Mysore was one of the most powerful enemies of British. He was finally defeated in 1799 in the Battle of Seringpatna. Notice the way the battle scene is painted. Like you can see, the British troops are shown storming the fort from all sides, cutting Tipu's soldiers into pieces, climbing the walls, raising the British flag. Somewhere they were presenting their supremacy. It is a painting full of action and energy, and this painting also shows the event and glorifies the British triumph. Imperial history paintings are sought to create a public memory of imperial triumphs. Now we will see this last painting. This last painting is the discovery of Tipu Sultan's body. By General Sir David Baird. By Sir David Baird. Actually, the body of Tipu Sultan was discovered in 1799, but it was painted by David Wilkie in 1839. Body was discovered in 1799, but painting was made in 1839. This painting was made by David Wilkie. As I have told you in my previous video that European artists introduced oil painting. So all these images are the example of oil painting. From this to this last images are made from oil painting. And look this painting carefully. Look at the way General Baird, this is General Baird, who led the British army that stormed Tipu's fort. He is shown standing triumphantly in the middle. The lantern lights up Baird, making him visible to the spectator. Like these are lanterns. Tipu lies dead, his body hidden in semi-darkness. This is Tipu's body. And this was hidden in semi-darkness. His forces are defeated. You can see that the Tipu's clothes are also torn and stripped off. The painting seems to announce this is the fate of those who dare to oppose the British. So while we studying these paintings, we can see that in all these paintings, European artists took the theme of British supremacy. They wanted to show supremacy of British culture, their ideology, and their power. That's why they took the theme of British supremacy, and they took these kinds of subjects which could easily show the supremacy of British. In our next video, we will discuss the remaining part of this chapter, that is what happened to the court artist, the new popular Indian art, and basically the search for our national art.